Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. We have a major bombshell today about J.B. Pritzker that you do not want to miss. He just got absolutely exposed, and this liberal, they are now pointing the finger at J.B. Pritzker for the way that he has been pushing anti-Trump rhetoric and really rallying people behind and trying to stop President Trump, when in reality, America voted for Trump, and J.B. Pritzker is just a sore loser. So we're going to dive in, but before we do, we're going to read scripture and pray because God comes first. Amen? Comment the word amen in the comment section if you believe that God comes first in your life. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Amen. That's from Hebrews 11:6. And let's pray that all of us continue to seek God, even in the most difficult moments in our life. And my brothers and sisters, congratulations to everyone who has begun investing in the stock market under President Trump. The stock market has been absolutely soaring under the leadership of Donald Trump. We now have a totally free offer linked below, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your phone and scan this QR code. And I also created a free investing tutorial for you to watch as well. And don't worry, you don't need a lot of money to get started. You could literally get started with just a couple bucks.
Well, you are looking there at shocking new photos of suspected shooter Cole Allen taken in his hotel room just moments before he attacked the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The shooting marked the...
Bro was taking selfies before, and he was armed with how many weapons? How did he get in there in the first place unchecked?
Third attempted assassination plot targeting President Trump in just 2 years. And despite fresh calls to cool the rhetoric that puts a target on Trump's back, some on the left are digging in. Governor J.B. Pritzker, when reacting to the DOJ indicting Comey, somehow finding a way to accuse Trump of inciting violence.
What? Even after he almost got assassinated, then they're making Trump look like the bad guy? What the heck, man?
This president is guilty of inciting violence, and now he's using the First Amendment. He's going after people for exercising their First Amendment rights and claiming that they're the ones who are attacking people. This whole administration seems full of people who are just following whatever this demented president tells them to do.
He's saying that after Trump was nearly assassinated, calling him a demented president.
Others on the left are deflecting, insisting that political violence is not a Democrat problem, even though Republicans have been the target of numerous attacks. Watch.
No one's legitimizing violence in any way. I have very little patience for this.
Wait, did George Stephanopoulos get fired? Is this his new show from his couch? Did I miss something?
Has the president faced 3 threats in the last couple of years? Absolutely. Is that abominable? Absolutely. The problem of political violence and extremism is evident on both sides.
The Democrats are blamed all for their rhetoric. When what I hear over and over again is Democrats saying, please tone it down, please tone down the rhetoric. That's not what we stand for. And we have seen, frankly, from the other side, from Trump and others, elevated rhetoric. Now, you don't want to get a he said, she said place, but it's really infuriating.
Wait, so Joe Biden's former White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, is blaming Trump after he almost got assassinated how many times now?
Elevated rhetoric. Now, you don't want to get a he said, she said place, but it's really infuriating.
But Vice President J.D. Vance is pushing back, telling Will Cain that rage-fueled Democrats need to take a long look in the mirror.
If you're engaged in that kind of rhetoric, you need to check yourself. If you're part of the left wing in this country, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, why is it that so many of the people who are firing guns at their political opponents agree with my perspective and listen to the same sources of information that I listen to? Maybe that suggests the left has got to tone down the rhetoric a little bit.
Yeah, Jesse, it's incredible how lopsided it is. I don't know the rose-colored glasses that they're using.
Well, the glasses are worn by 2 Democrat press flacks for Democrat presidents. Where would they get this idea, Emily, that Trump is such a threat? that he needs to be taken out? Where would they get the idea that he's such a unique danger, a genocidal dictator like Hitler, who at any day could just kill everybody in sight?
Well, Hillary Clinton compared Trump to Hitler on The View, right, Jesse?
Where would they get the idea that he's mentally deranged and that the cabinet and perhaps the military might have to do something about that? That he's already putting immigrants, innocent ones, in concentration camps and killing innocent fishermen. Where would they get the idea that he was a Russian traitor, a sexist, white supremacist who his slogan means really go back to when women and blacks couldn't vote? This isn't coming from the dark underbelly of the internet. This is coming from the mainstream media.
And the leading Democrats, too, like Hakeem Jeffries, Yasmin Crockett, AOC. Political violence on both sides. Greg Gutfeld's like, are you joking me?
The governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago are scrambling behind closed doors, nervously clutching press releases, desperately trying to cover up a complete breakdown in their chain of command. Why? Because their own Illinois state troopers, the very backbone of state law enforcement, have rebelled. After both the governor and mayor refused to allow them to work with ICE, the Illinois state troopers are telling them, in effect, to shove it. They're siding with ICE. They're siding with law and order. And they're now making arrests. A move that's forcing a stunning reversal from leaders who once vowed to resist federal agents at any cost. Stick with me to the very end of this video, because we're about to find out how what just happened in Illinois really is just the beginning.
Isn't it kind of crazy, like, all of this stuff, guys? And J.B. Pritzker, like, I think he should step down as governor, honestly.
Of Chicago has become a world in ways you never even imagined. You know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. The city of Chicago has become ground zero for America's sanctuary city debate, a place where Democrat leaders have prided themselves in defying federal immigration enforcement. Yet, in a move that no one saw coming, the supposed untouchable alliance between Governor J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson is shattering as state troopers appear to have gone rogue.
This is insane that they allowed that Governor Pritzker was basically, you know, coming out and saying, oh, ICE needs to be stopped. They need to stop. It's like, dude, you're basically encouraging this behavior. 1,500 illegal immigrants arrested in major Illinois operation, including criminals. Yeah. And Pritzker is mad.
Yeah, and also the research that the media uses to kind of equate both sides is incredibly flawed. A joke even. I mean, I could just list the types of crimes, whether it is ambushes. We remember the ambushes. We remember the sustained rioting, the sustained looting, the attacks on government facilities, the attacks on law enforcement, businesses, individuals, religious institutions. It's like something nearly 500 in the past, 7 years that could be linked to the left, one to the right. January 6th, and that has been exploited. We know that. I am going to say let's just ignore the rhetoric. We're never going to get past that. The rhetoric thing is done. It's a tradition in America to say bad things about people. So why don't we just ask who's guilty of the violence? You know, that's the avoidance that we're seeing in the media. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get us into the battle over rhetoric. Well, you guys do it too. Well, I do it too. Okay, then let's just find out what side's words lead to violence. Because I agree with you, Trump says some really mean things, but we don't kill the Democrats afterwards. Liberals won't advance to that next step. They want you to believe it's about the quantity of rhetoric when it's really the quantity of violence from the rhetoric. The Dems simply compare the rhetoric divorced from the sustained violence. It is that simple. And I'm invested in that. I'm invested in that a lot. I am very wary of people who say both sides. And I think because it betrays It's a confession. When somebody says both sides are doing it, they're not denying that they're doing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got me.
But I want to be clear.
Wait, no, I'm not talking about you, Harold.
I'm guilty of what you said. I admit both sides do it. I mean...
Yeah. Okay. Well, then let me... when somebody says both sides do it, they aren't defending their side. They're just saying you do it too. So instead of arguing against the accusation, they expand the definition of what it is. So I'm just talking about...
Yeah, I guess what he's saying is like both sides is justifying that it's okay because, oh, well, both people do it, so it's okay. Rather than being like, we should stop.
Violence, okay? That was created by political instruction to do so. By all means necessary, eliminate. But they said, well, you call Democrats communists. You call them losers and creeps. Not the point. I'm just talking about the sustained violence. So when they say on both sides, they are basically just shifting, I hate to say goalposts, but they're changing it. My last point, then I'll shut up. We're all familiar with the broken windows theory, where visible signs of disorder create a lack of societal control. And that encourages for more and more serious crimes. Where did this left-wing violence come from? Well, how many instances have we seen in the last 10 years where conservatives were targeted on campus? Pro-lifers get attacked, Riley Gaines gets swarmed, speakers are mobbed, vandalism everywhere. No countless attacks. Nobody gets charged. Tolerance towards that violence was the broken window theory that now makes it seem to younger people, young men, that violence is now more acceptable. It's the same kind of incubation you see on city streets where, vandalism, public urination then leads to mugging. So
that's a really good point, the broken window theory.
Whoa, that's crazy. Many people are pointing the finger at J.B. Pritzker for being really anti-Trump and being really anti what America voted for, especially just rallying up people to be against Trump and ICE. Take a listen.
Building tradesmen near Tribune Tower, simply doing their jobs, were detained by federal agents while working on a construction site. Separately, 24 federal agents chased down a man, handcuffed him, and asked him for his papers. Meanwhile, ICE's chief offender, Gregory Bovino, has been leading the disruption and causing mayhem while he gleefully poses for photo ops and TikTok videos. Bovino even admitted on the record that they are making arrests based on how you look. They're not targeting violent criminals or gang members. They're arresting tamale vendors and delivery men and shaking down families. Donald Trump and Kristi Noem and Tom Homan said they were targeting the worst of the worst criminals. They lied, and they continue to lie. 60% of the individuals that ICE has taken in Illinois this year have no criminal convictions of any kind. ICE is running around the loop, harassing people for not being white. Just a year ago, that was illegal in the United States. Now, ICE is making it commonplace. That's not making America great. In any other country, if federal agents fired upon journalists and protesters when unprovoked, what would we call it? If federal agents marched down busy streets, harassing civilians and demanding their papers, what would we say? I don't think we'd have any trouble calling it what it is: authoritarianism.
So he said that about Trump, and then this was after Trump nearly got assassinated, shot in the ear. People are really pointing the finger, hey, J.B. Pritzker, you're one of these people who you need to tone it down. But not only that, but you should face consequences for these things that you say about Trump, right? It's simply not true. What do you mean authoritarianism? Trump's not an authoritarian. All right, so President Trump just came out to address the nation. Let's tune in.
I thought we'd be down maybe 20%, and we're up. The stock market's higher now than when we started this war. And I thought oil prices would go to $200, $250. It's at $100 now. And I think you're surprised, and I'm surprised. But even if it went to 200, it would have been worth it. I understood that. We had just set a record.
How amazing is that, my friends? The stock market is soaring under President Trump. If you want to learn how to begin investing, we have a totally free offer right now. You can click the link below, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your phone and scan that QR code. Just download the app. It's totally free to get started. It's never too late, and who knows, maybe you can even learn so you can help your children or your grandchildren as well. Personally, I started investing, and now my investments are up over $60,000. One of you guys even messaged me saying that you're up over $13,000. I believe this is the best time to start investing while Trump is president because he's the best leader and the stock market has been hitting record numbers under his leadership. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take it as your sign. It's totally free and I break it down easy for you. I even have a free tutorial that I created just for you. It's all in the description box or pinned in the comments. And even Representative Steve Scalise is saying, hey, you guys got to calm down this rhetoric. And he's pointing the finger at J.B. Pritzker. Take a listen.
All right, here with Reaction, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise is with us. You know, all of the comparisons to the Nazis, fascists, Gestapo, on and on and on, racist, you nearly died because of political violence. Do you see a correlation between this dehumanizing rhetoric? Do you believe it's insightful?
Of course it is, Sean. And, you know, when you listen to those words, you know, and at the beginning you rolled that tape of Governor Pritzker saying that we should disagree without being disagreeable. Those platitudes ring hollow when he over and over and over again, literally days into Donald Trump's second term, he was comparing the president to Hitler and to Nazis. And he does this over and over again. He said Republicans, remember that, Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. What does he mean by that? And now he wants to try to blame Republicans when it's the right, you know, that is being attacked by the left over and over again. Again, Donald Trump, 3 assassins, and many of those attempted assassins on Donald Trump have regurgitated those very same words, Nazi, threat to democracy, that people like Governor Pritzker used when they tried to kill the president. So they need to stop doing it. Governor Pritzker needs to look at the man in the mirror, and that's where it needs to start.
What did the manifesto of the shooters say? It was all a bunch of, you know, garbage, phony baloney that people like J.B. Pritzker, Hakeem Jeffries say about Trump. It's like, you can only compare Trump to Hitler so many times, and isn't that an obvious question, an obvious answer to a question a lot of people ask when they're just sitting around playing games? Hey, if you had the opportunity to kill Hitler, would you do it? Right? And a lot of people, I don't even want to say it, but, you know, it's just sad.
Stop the insightful rhetoric that he and others like him are using deliberately. They know what they're doing. It needs to stop.
But I don't care if it's Kamala Harris. Her closing argument was Nazi, fascist, racist. I don't care if it's her. I don't care if it's Gavin Newsom and his nonstop attacks and stalking of President Trump. I don't care if it's JB. They all are saying the same thing. And the reason I think they have to do it or feel like they have to do it or are doing it is they know that their party has been radicalized.
And that's even, I wanted to play this clip of what Kamala said shortly before the race.
It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump,
incredibly dangerous, guys,
would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews.
Why are you reading? You're reading a script. She's not even speaking from the heart. She looked down like 8 times already.
And hundreds of thousands of Americans.
She's looking down because she doesn't want to misspeak. It's crazy that you compared Trump to Hitler right before the election. People, you know, that liberals, you're their leader. Why wouldn't they listen to you?
This is the only way to get their base to turn out for them if they want to run for president. Do you see the same thing?
It's fear-mongering.
That's exactly right. I mean, the far left has literally taken over the Democrat Party in Washington. This is not your father's Democrat Party. The party's lost their way, and they don't care about working people anymore. It's why President Trump did so well with working people, and why, by the way, we as House Republicans continue to work with President Trump to make life more affordable for those working families. We're going to keep delivering, but the left doesn't care about those families. They just want power, Sean. You saw it during COVID. Yeah. They lied to you about masks and distancing and shutting down businesses and keeping kids out of school because they want power. That's all they care about. And the American people are sick and tired of it. And look, people need to vote this November because that is the kind of methodology and ideology that wants to take back over. We can't let it happen.
And this was, a lot of people are bringing up this clip of J.B. Pritzker really talking about having Nazi Germany references while talking about Trump.
The governor warned lawmakers that things will be tight this year, but he presented a balanced budget that overcomes a previously projected Trump administration.
I'm watching with a foreboding dread what is happening in our country right now.
The governor, who's expected to run for president, making frequent references to Nazi Germany as he criticized the president.
The authoritarian playbook is laid bare here. They point to a group of people who don't look like you and tell you to blame them for your problems.
The authoritarian playbook is crazy, dude.
Republicans left shocked.
Wow, this was a very political budget speech. Clearly, the governor is beginning his run for the presidential race.
The governor's budget calls for better access to higher education and allowing community colleges to offer four-year degrees in some areas. The governor also pushing for reducing the cost of prescription drug medication.
For us in the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus, we want to make sure that we're prioritizing our needs. We want to make sure that these critical programs
But look at how many times J.B. Pritzker says Nazi in his speech talking about Trump.
I've been reflecting these last 4 weeks on two important parts of my life. My work helping to build the Illinois Holocaust Museum and the 2 times that I've had the privilege of reciting the oath of office for Illinois governor. As some of you know, Skokie, Illinois once had one of the largest populations of Holocaust survivors anywhere in the world. In 1978, Nazis decided that they wanted to march there. The leaders of that march knew that the images of swastika-clad young men goose-stepping down a peaceful suburban street would terrorize the local Jewish population, so many of whom had never recovered from their time in German concentration camps. The prospect of that march sparked a legal fight that went all the way to the Supreme Court.
And remember that J.B. Pritzker was really pushing back against ICE when Trump was trying to clean up all of the criminals that were in Illinois, because apparently, I don't know if it was a sanctuary city or not, but there were a lot of really bad people in Illinois, and J.B. Pritzker was like, oh, you can't come here. This is our town.
The ground there. Pritzker talking about you today. Listen.
We're all pleased to see a ratcheting down of the number of CBP and ICE agents that are here on the ground. I'm glad to see that they'll have a new leader. I don't know who that is, but I got to imagine they're going to be better than Gregory Bovino was.
Your reaction, Greg Bovino.
If he's pleased that he thinks operations are being ratcheted down, well, just the opposite is going to occur, Sandra. We're ratcheting operations up in Chicago. And let me tell you a little bit. My team and I have spent 2 months in Chicago. What's happening there it's beyond the pale. That's a very corrupt system in Chicago, whether it's those elected leaders like Pritzker or those out-of-control judges. Chicago needs some attention. We're not going anywhere out of Chicago. So you're going to see some very dynamic
Where did
operations.
he get that idea? Where did he get that idea? I mean, the local papers are reporting you're on your way out, agents are leaving. Where did they get this?
Well, it's just crazy because J.B. Pritzker, Trump was trying to help J.B. Pritzker with getting rid of these criminals and getting rid of crime in Illinois and in Chicago. And J.B. Pritzker is like, we need to abolish ICE. If we don't abolish Trump's ICE, things could get much worse. Isn't that a threat? Or a warning, rather? If we don't abolish ICE, things could get much worse. What do you mean get worse? And why would it get worse when you're literally getting rid of criminals? Like, that's how you clean things up, dude.
Governor right now, we have Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Welcome, sir. So, first of all, your reaction to this deadly shooting, the second one in Minneapolis, and all of these images that we're seeing out of that city today.
Well, first of all, it's tragic and it's outrageous. The ICE patrols in our American cities are causing more damage than the president thinks that he's accomplishing.
Do you hear his language here? Trump is causing damage. ICE is causing damage. Then look at this one. We're living in a dangerous moment. J.B. Pritzker accuses Trump of fomenting violence. It's like the way that the language that he's using against Trump rallies people together to have this sort of ideology, so this kind of view of President Trump as Trump is a dangerous guy, right? So why are you shocked when you have people, you know, why are you shocked when there's multiple assassination attempts, when you have these big leaders who are saying this type of language? And you might recall on Halloween night, they were trying to, you know, get rid of these criminals, and Halloween is actually a really horrible day. I personally don't celebrate it. Maybe some of you guys watching do. It's a very strange holiday. Anyways, regardless of your religious beliefs on Halloween, it's also a very dangerous night. A lot of robberies happen because people open up their doors to people who knock. A lot of shootings happen because, you know, people dress up in masks and it's normal. So if you got any creepy guys out, you know, Halloween's a good chance for them to go do all that. Anyways, ICE, President Trump, you know, ICE was going to go in to help protect Illinois, and J.B. Pritzker was asking Trump to stop this. He says, give kids and families a break.
And the governor of Illinois wants to give illegal immigrants a real treat this Halloween weekend. J.B. Pritzker is asking the Trump administration to pause immigration enforcement to, quote, let children be children.
I've sent a letter to Kristi Noem and to the Department of Homeland Security leadership asking them to pause all of their federal agent operations for the entirety of the Halloween weekend. I'm asking for basic human decency. Give the
criminals 3 days off. You know, let them go, let them loose on one of the most dangerous. This is like they like chose the dumbest kid in the classroom. It's like the teacher's gone for the day and they pick the dumbest kid in the back and say, hey, you lead the class today. And then he goes up and makes all these dumb rules. That's J.B. Pritzker.
Well, they're running away from the story because they know they got their fingerprints all over it. I disagree with Harold. With all due respect, a call for unity is not for us. We don't need it.
He called for it, though.
No, I'm just saying that it's not for me to hear. It's for your side. We don't need it because it's only a one-way thing. You mentioned some examples like the Pelosi thing, which is a mental illness thing. The Wisconsin thing, we still aren't sure what the hell happened there. The Whitmer thing was a plot. Who created the plot? That would take an entire special to go under. I disagree with Jesse. This guy did hear voices. They were Tim Waltz's, they were Ted Lieu's, they were Brandon Johnson's, they were CNN's, they were The View, they were MS Now. Okay. I think this is a helpful assassination attempt because it is the first one to show that you can be radicalized by liberal smugness.
Greg Gutfeld is obviously calling out President Barack Obama, who says, although we don't have yet the details about the motives behind last night's shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Well, okay, you don't have details about the motives, but it's quite obvious why this young man thinks this way. Why many people online joke, why Jimmy Kimmel jokes about Melania Trump being, she looks like an expectant widow. It's like they laugh at this. They joke about this stuff all the time. They compare Trump to Hitler. Hillary Clinton compared Trump to Hitler, you know? And Obama says, he said there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacy rally. You know, they come out and say this stuff time and time and time again. And Greg Gutfeld's like, they nurtured this. Look at this. Greg Gutfeld said they nurtured this. He's exposing the truth big time, my friends. Let's tune in. Again, Greg Gutfeld's a funny guy, but he speaks facts. Tyrus has to say about it.
I think it does something to all of us as humans that is not good.
Yeah, I do think, though, Tyrus, that I am sensing something that no one's really talking about. People can make fun of people on the right for being religious or humorless. There are plenty of stereotypes. But there's something about the left, and that is the lack of humility. We know it when we see a liberal acting like they're right and you're wrong. There's a sense
it's absolutism.
Yeah. And I think that when I read that guy's
thing, and I read his post. I go like, he sounds like all of them.
Well, he is all of them. And he's not crazy. And in circles, he's not a bad person. He's a soldier.
Yeah.
He's a call to arms.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole plan was. I mean, we need to stop. The problem, though, I say it over and over again, we're too polite. If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, and tries to kill you, it's a duck. Like, they just...
It's a killer duck.
But you make jokes about it, but we're always, oh, he's mentally this, he's that, this. No. What do you think the whole point of going out and saying that rhetoric?
And I actually heard that this shooter guy was actually a really well-educated guy. He wasn't just like a loony. He went to college. I think he was smart. I don't know his background, but I think that he was a quote-unquote, on the books, a smart, intelligent, successful guy. I think he still lived at home with his parents, but he lives in freaking California, where it's way too expensive to live on your own.
The thing is about the people in politics is they never want their hands dirty. So they'll say things over and over, and then you'll have these king rallies where they'll all get together and they'll preach this stuff and preach, and they believe it as much as you believe in your own lives. Mm-hmm. So he's a martyr. He's a hero. He's going to have so many letters. Yeah. He's going to have so many of those weird looking women singing outside his cell. Like, we're laughing, but like, the one thing they haven't had in this whole thing has been military, in shape, aged men. And now, lo and behold, they're showing up. So their work is getting better. I think, you don't need to bring this back. Yeah. You should never, ever have the president and the vice president in the same event again. You just can't. And to me...
Well, they're going to at the UFC event in June, so that's going to go down.
The most powerful thing that I saw in that whole thing going down was, the president knew who those shots were for, and what was his first move? His wife. That's why he's my president. Yeah. He was a man first, and he...
Boom, shakalaka. Well said.
Masculinity.
But here's the thing. He made, in his speech, and the president was a little shook up because he couldn't remember names of the guys he was trying to talk about, but Martin Luther King. Yeah. There's people that have tried to stand to make change, and when they make change, and let's not kid ourselves. How many billions of dollars is out of the pockets of politicians right now? How many of the defund groups and all that stuff? And ironically, this is a good time to have King rallies and send people to go attack, because why? Our stuff isn't funded. So the guards are down, and you don't have to be crazy to be like, hey, it's so easy to get him, guys. All you got to do is check. The best thing that happened was those guys took his ass down, because now he's going to talk. And they're going to get more, because usually what happens is they end up with a bullet in their head, and then they say, oh, he's crazy, he's this. And we need to stop saying, like, because he's a teacher, like that's somehow honorable. These ain't the teachers that we grew up with. Yeah. These are the teachers that are grooming your kids, that are rocking flags and that are trying to have sex with your kids, who want to take parents out of the home. Let's stop. These aren't the teachers that we think they are. He is a soldier, and we need to start recognizing the fact that there is a war in this country. It's just they don't fight like us. Yeah. They fight underneath us.
All right.
Wow, very well said. So I don't know about you, but I think J.B. Pritzker should be held accountable, guys. What do you think? CNN is admitting that Americans are winning in the stock market thanks to President Trump. Take a listen.
It's a success story if you're in the White House right now, the stock market is, and you can see it right here. Okay, S&P 500 shifts at this point in a presidency. You know, coming into today at the close of yesterday, look at this, up 19%. That is higher than the average president since 2001, when it was up 15%, and way, way higher than the average presidency since 1961, up 6%. So this stock market has been up like a rocket, and no wonder the president of the United States wants to talk about it.
I mean, Donald Trump literally told us that this is a great time to buy, and that this is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. And I don't know about you, but I did listen to President Trump, and my investment returns are up over $67,000. One of you guys messaged me that you were up over $13,000. Now, if you want to learn how to begin investing, we have a totally free offer with no commitment at all. You can click the link below, download the app, and follow the free tutorial that I created for you guys. I tell you all the stocks that I have, how to get them, and I break it down step by step and easy. If you're watching this on your TV, you can take out your cell phone, open up your camera app, and point it at this QR code and just download the app in the link. And again, it's totally free to get started. It's just my gift to you for being a watcher of my show.